You know how bullish we are on the game Cornucopia on the Mindblow show. Recently even rated as an upcoming 100x right here on one of our videos in the past. And so among other industry veterans, we also had a conversation with the two co-founders of Cornucopia. It's about an hour-long interview/podcast style of video, which is totally different from what I usually do here on the Mindblow show. I hope you enjoy this format. Just wanted to preface this video a little bit. It's longer than anything else I've done in the past. I hope you do enjoy the conversation we've had. We've tackled topics like play for fun versus play to earn, where we see the crypto gaming space going in the future, and just generally really interesting questions and a really interesting conversation. So take some popcorn or any snacks you like, sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Here we are on the Mindblow show, and first and foremost, we have the co-founder and co-CEO of Cornucopia, a game that needs no introduction, the master of the corn, the one, the only, the notorious Rob Craig.
Hello there.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Feel free to give us a brief introduction of yourself.
Sure. My name is Rob Craig. I'm one of the four co-founders of Cornucopias. I am by trade, a developer and an analyst, entrepreneur, and I don't know what more you want me to say. It's very brief.
Thank you very much. Another man that needs no introduction, but we'll give him one anyway. Also co-founder and also co-CEO of Cornucopia. With him, the Copy team is almost assembled. Josh Jones.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us on the show. Yeah, my background's I've been a startup entrepreneur for a long time, so just playing the co-CEO role with Rob and getting Cornucopia's team built and setting our strategy and vision and making sure that this game gets to where we want it to get. And one thing I would add is that you didn't say notorious in front of my name, so I'm just curious what happened there. No, I'm kidding, man.
Yeah, that is mostly because I already talked to Rob a little bit on Twitter, so I kind of like him a little bit more. Yeah. All right. Thank you for your brief introduction. And we have the founder of Dega, a company that combines gaming and fundraising, and someone I'm lucky to call a friend, who's one of the first people I've met on my crypto journey back in 2018. Carlos Rene.
Hey there, Tony. Thank you for having us here today, man. I feel like, part of the Avengers here with this assembly we had today. So it's really an honor and a pleasure to be here. For everybody that doesn't know me, Carlos Rene, CEO of Dega, basically saying hi from the sunny beaches of Costa Rica. For anybody coming my way, please hit me up. I can guarantee you'll have a good time. And, in Dega, just in short, our vision is to empower billions around the world to project their creativity in the digital economy. We'll do that through several products and tools, and obviously through some of the best collaborations that we could possibly have in this industry, among them Cornucopias, and looking forward also to working with Ben in some shape or manner in the coming months over at NeoTokyo.
Awesome. Thank you, Carlos, for a little introduction.
You guys have known each other since 2018?
Yeah, that's when my crypto journey started. I think it was 2018, Carlos. Was it 2018 in Malta on the ABC conference? Yeah, one of the first people I've met from the crypto industry. I wasn't even into crypto then. I think you got me to buy Ethereum on like $90.
That's a good friend. Now I see why you call him friend.
That's what I'm saying. I like it to call him a friend. All right, from NeoTokyo, which is a place where Web3 gamers come together to plot the future. A collection of artists, gamers, VCs, developers, and overall builders. CEO, writer, and Web3 enthusiast, Ben Gothard.
What up? Hey, everybody. How's it going? Just a quick point of clarification. I'm not the CEO of NeoTokyo. I'm part of the leadership council there, the AMA lead, and I also host the podcast, and I created the NeoTokyo podcast there. Also the VP of partnerships and a partner in the business over at Nexus Gaming as well. Been an entrepreneur myself for a long time. Been a gamer since I was 6, investor since I was about 16, and started building businesses since I was about 20. Had a couple of startups, took one about 120 people. Been worked with different startups here and there. Then in later 2021, really found the intersection of crypto and gaming. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so here we are. A couple of years later, and I think we're all really excited about this time period we're in.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I like that. I know you're not the CEO of NeoTokyo. Maybe I have not said that well enough, but you are CEO in your own right ever since you were 20 years old, if the information I have dug up was correct.
It's a book there to prove it.
There you go, and writer. Well, gents, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for brief introductions. We're all here because we strongly believe that blockchain gaming and metaverse experiences will take over the world. Most of the time, opinions have been very subjective, yet there are many things we can all agree on. Today, we want to explore where our opinions differ and where they are all the same. Blockchain technology has allowed us to have a different vision of the future and a different vision of gaming. While there are many projects that want to take advantage of this new niche that we're all creating here, some projects completely stand out of the crowd. Now, those projects, those are the ones who see things differently. And as Steve Jobs once said, and I will quote him here, you can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you cannot do is ignore them, because they change things, they push us forward. And while some may call them the crazy ones, we see genius. So this will bring me into my first question. Will something similar to Ready Player One occur with the blockchain gaming industry? Will blockchain gaming become another subgenre in the overall gaming industry maybe? Or maybe it's going to be something else entirely. So I want to know your thoughts in general. What direction do you think that we are headed in with the blockchain gaming industry in the grand scheme of things 5 to 10 years down the road? So that's my first question. Maybe we can start off with Carlos Rene.
Sure thing, happy to do so. So I think that, in terms of medium, we'll probably still have a lot of the same experiences we have right now, along with new ones, right? So, 2D games are not going anywhere. Obviously, 3D games are already a thing. They have been a thing for some time now. And as we kind of everybody's on the fence right now, but we're all pretty much excited about the Apple Vision platform as well, and we'll see where VR and AR take us in the coming years. I'm sure that's probably many experiences that we haven't seen yet, but more so than that, I believe that we can expect to see what we call at Dega the rise of the gamer nation. Right, we're basically living in interconnected gaming. Let's say economy is going to be a very real thing for a lot of people. It already is for Gen Z a lot. And it's going to be kind of like a new paradigm in the way that we build things around the internet and engagement, in the sense that now you can expect not only to build, for example, for advanced or sophisticated societies such as the USA, Europe, Japan, but now even in emerging markets, almost everybody is a gamer now through their phone. Right, so we're going to see the rise of the gamer nation, which is going to be composed out of 4 billion people, right, every day playing nonstop on all sorts of different genres, and then that's going to initiate a whole new type of digital economy. And of course, everybody here, I believe, is banking on or betting on the fact that that'll be on top of blockchain technologies, right? Not 100% of it, but certainly at least a large amount of it, I believe.
All right. That was very insightful. What about you, Josh? What do you think? Do you share Carlos's opinion that we will take over everyone that's a gamer right now, or do you see a different vision when it comes to the grand scheme
in
of
terms of Web3 gaming? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Web3 solution to gaming with player-owned assets and the distributed, interconnected, decentralized approach to it is a very powerful use case that is going to bring a lot of gamers over, if not all, at some point. So, you already have big gaming studios that are in traditional gaming that are looking at Web3 and making moves into NFTs and player-owned assets and things of that nature. So yeah, I do think that it's headed in that direction. I think the main issue really is, with you mentioned Ready Player One. There's another metaverse-based book, Snow Crash. I think the interconnectedness of it all, like being able to walk from one game to another, is going to be a challenging, technological a feat really to pull that off. There's going to have to be standards and ways that becomes easier and easier over time. So I think that'll take a while. But in terms of the player-owned assets, we're going to capture this next bull cycle, and what happens in 2024 and 25 is going to be incredibly powerful for Web3 gaming, without a doubt. I think we're going to see a tidal wave of volume, and I think we're going to see a lot of problems too, and issues and FUD and all sorts of stuff, because there's going to be so much new volume coming in that there's going to be ways that the scammers can exploit and try to give it a bad name. There might still be some bad PR or, press trying to hold down the Web3 gaming because, XYZ scam occurred or, whatever. So we got to be cautious, all of us that are leading in that space. But I think it's going to be huge what happens for us in the next 2 years.
All right, in the next 2 years, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. Crypto winter has lasted quite a while, and I guess we're all excited about what's to come. What about you, Rob? Are you also excited? What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think we really are part of disruptive technology. I mean, if you talk about Ready Player One, for example, I mean, that's the stuff of sci-fi. You go back 40, 50 years when we were all, some of us old ones were kids, we were watching Star Trek. And in Star Trek, they had these little communicators that were completely wireless that you could open up. Fast forward 20, 30 years, somebody took that vision and turned it into a wireless flip phone. Now when we look at Ready Player One, which is, foreshadowing a metaverse, a place where people go in, do everyday tasks, but also game at the same time, and then they break out into reality. So what we are in effect here in a metaverse. We're all in different parts of the world. We're all communicating together. This is 2D at the moment. Fast forward, like Carlos says, with the Apple VR and other VRs that are coming, we will all be in the same room or appear to be in the same room to our brain. But somebody has to take those initial visions, have their own visions, and try and realize them. And I think what we are doing for gaming and for the metaverse and merging those two together are a lot closer to the journey to Ready Player One than just going down a gaming route or a metaverse route.
Very, very interesting insights. But now I'm curious to hear what Ben would have to say as someone who is part of NeoTokyo, which is a little bit of an unconventional project when compared to regular crypto games, right?
Yeah, so we're not a game. We're more of a community. Our whole goal is to become the Illuminati of crypto gaming in the metaverse. And so, obviously I don't speak for every single person within NeoTokyo, so everybody's going to have their own independent, thesis, but I can share mine. I think if we look at what's going on in history, or just the history of humankind, we've been moving in this direction for a very long time of going from analog to digital. Everybody that's 30 and under has basically grown up in virtual worlds. They're on Snapchat all the time, or they're on Facebook or Instagram, or whatever the platform of the day is. They're always on social media. They're always consuming content online. They're playing in games. They're transacting. They're creating. They're working. They're building relationships. So they're socializing. They're falling in love online. All these things are happening. They're transacting. They're working, and they're buying things online. And things that previously held no value, which are digital goods, are now increasingly having more value over time. And this trend is not going to reverse itself. This is only going to continue, because the people that are 30 and under are eventually going to acquire all of the wealth and the control in the world that currently people who did not grow up in virtual worlds currently holds. And then they're going to teach their kids, who are going to be even more immersed, and then that cycle is going to continue. So in a world where that is happening and that is increasing over time, and gaming is that gateway and that interface where we do have a virtual world to live in that is immersive. And, right now we're looking at screens. Eventually we're going to be, having the headsets on, or with the chips in our brain, or, whatever crazy thing we all think of to do. Whatever interface we decide, eventually it will become more immersive, and we'll be having this conversation while we're riding dragons, fighting off space pirates, whatever it ends up being. In that world, it is critical that a few things exist. One, it's critical that we have the ability to tell real from fake, of who actually controls this thing versus who does not control that thing. And it is absolutely critical to be able to transact, because that is the underlying foundation of any economy and any civilization, is the ability to transact in a really fair way. So the solution there is blockchain, because it does both of those things, right? And so if we just think about the utility that it actually brings to a virtual world, it is the utility that is critical to the base of functional civilization. And so we're at that inflection point right now, where everything is moving from where that is not the case to where that is very much the case. And so the cool part is that we're all in the crypto gaming sector, and that is like the gateway drug to this world of this absolute digital revolution that we find ourselves in. So I think it's a little silly to not be taking part of it, because how much cooler of a place to be could you be? You know, I mean, it's one of the most incredible places at the most incredible time in human history.
I definitely agree with that. Crypto gaming being the gateway drug to all this technology. That has been one of the reasons why I have also ventured very deep into the blockchain industry. So that's a very good point. Very good point you're making there.
I'd like to echo something on top of what Ben said, and it's something that's taken for granted depending on where you are, which is the capability to transact. Right, it's something that sounds so simple, right? And probably there's people right now, and when they hear this video, somebody in Miami, New York, in London might be like, well, I can transact right now, right? Like, what's the issue, right? And they forget that there's about 3 billion people in emerging markets, right? And for us, having something as simple as a dollar-based account, that can be a challenge, right? It's not the case here in Costa Rica, where I'm from, where I'm based at right now. But there are countries where it is a struggle, right? And just having a bank account in dollar denomination is a challenge, let alone being able to charge internationally, right? Something like Stripe, even PayPal is not that simple. There are many services that people in emerging markets can't even register for, because they want to, they send their passports, and like my passport gets rejected often. Like, I'm originally from Honduras, and there's a lot of system basically don't even account for the fact that my country exists in that sense, right? So being able to transact, right, is what's going to break down the barriers for gamers in emerging markets. Right now, we won't be able to just play. We'll be able to build, we'll be able to connect, we'll be able to share amongst each other, this new wave of exploration in the digital world. So it is absolutely a cornerstone of why, Web3 matters in the gaming industry.
100%. There's actually a small anecdote I wanted to share with you guys just on that note. I work with a couple of different folks, VAs or people on my team, and oftentimes I would love to be able to pay through PayPal. It's very convenient for me being in the US, but oftentimes that money will get frozen, not on the way out from me, but on the way in for them. And so somebody like, for example, in the Philippines, where if you're trying to pay them their monthly wage or their biweekly wage or whatever it is, that money is critical to them, and they use that money to eat, in some circumstances. And so if PayPal is putting a hold for like 21 days on it, then that could have serious repercussions for that person and their family. This happened to me just last month. I had to sit on the phone with PayPal and be like, guys, this person needs to eat. Like, unfreeze this money. What are you doing? And they're like, oh, we've done everything we can. They got blah, blah. So what we ended up doing was, I was like, look, I was telling this person I work with, I was like, look, don't worry about that for now. Let that proceed in its due time. Do you have the ability to accept USDC? And he's like, yeah, I do. And in seconds, I was able to pay him instantly. No issue. It was, we used either Arbitrum or Polygon or whatever. So you have you have almost nothing in fees there. And immediately, what would have taken 21 days took 21 seconds. That is actually going to change this person's life, because they can eat this month. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And that's just the underpinning of what all of gaming is going to bring people into, that they can then see, and it's going to change. It's going to change a lot of people's lives.
Yep.
In a very positive way.
Yeah, that's very interesting because the points you both have been making is kind of what will lead me now into my second question of the day, which is something that everyone listening and everybody watching will be very interested in to hear. It goes like this, all right? Something everyone will be interested in, and the debate is the debate between play to earn and play for fun. The big difference in blockchain gaming is the factor that we have an in-game economy which consists of real-world assets. From my experience as someone who covers games like this on a regular weekly basis, I've had both fun and I've made money while playing these games. But even in games where their earnings were amazing, I have stopped playing after some time because the fun factor wasn't really there for me after a while. And so is there here a secret sauce? Is there a way to combine everything and to get the community engaged enough to care and to keep playing? And how really important is the earning factor here? That's what I want to get into now. Is there anyone keen more than others to answer this question? Or
sure, I'll jump in. Yeah. I think that's a really important question, obviously, because you're not going to see this massive Web3 gaming vacuum where we're pulling all these people into Web3 gaming with games that aren't fun, right? Because it's just not going to work. And the play to earn thing, we're going to have rewards in our game and we've got tokens assigned to that, but we're trying to get away from the play to earn language within Cornucopias, just because it sounds like that's the only reason you're there, to earn. We obviously want to create, and I think that the nature of your question was, is there a path where both of these work? And I think there is, and that's what we're trying to explore at Cornucopias, where rewards exist and value can be captured by the player in a variety of ways. And the reason they're there, the primary reason they're there, is because they want to have fun. So we're going for a combination without a doubt, and we're trying to stay away from the play to earn language just because of the sound of it. To me, it just doesn't. To earn, play for fun, play and get rewards. We're still looking for how we want to say that. Play and earn. We talked about that one, but that's just semantics and language. The main goal being on our end, how do we create a game that's incredibly fun, sticky, compelling, and the players can participate, all of our community can participate in the success together?
I guess in a way, about what Ben has mentioned before, there are some people in some countries that obviously also live off of this, especially from the Philippines. I have a lot of watchers, a lot of viewers from my channel that ask me all the time, is there any game where I can earn even a little bit? It will help me out a lot. So in my opinion, that's also going to be a part of the player base in any game that is anything, to earn and earn. I guess that is semantics at the end of the day. About how
100% that will happen. But if you have a choice, if you're in the Philippines and that $5 a day or whatever that income is meaningful to you for sustenance, for life, for carrying out your daily, for taking care of your family, if there's a choice, what are they going to go to? Which game are they going to go to? It's going to be the one that's fun and sticky. So obviously.
Yeah, on that note, just to echo a little bit there, I think that, just like in real life, right, you can expect to see people that want to do certain things for fun, certain things because that's their profession. Like, to give you an example, it is my profession to program, to make software, but it's something that I enjoy it, right? Like, even if I didn't have to code, like sometimes I just jump into tutorials and code. In Dega, we have a particular philosophy for this, and we call it play your way. Right? Play your way, in the sense that you want to jump in and just, have a fun 3 hours engaging with something, go for it, right? You want to become a serious top performer in a given game, right? And this is something that doesn't exist not only on Web3, right? Like in Web2, you have esports pros, right? Those guys are living out of gaming, right? So it's something that somebody else might want to do, and somebody might just want to jump in for fun, right? So I think it's important to cater for both of them as an industry. Now, every game individually, some of them might want to focus more on professional players. Some might say, we're just here for the fun, right? So I think that each game will have to make that decision. But in the industry, I believe that we will most likely cater to both of those profiles.
So I want to give a little bit of a hot take on this. I actually don't think we know yet. I don't think we've seen something that has sustainably cracked this code. And honestly, I think either one could work. Like if we saw what happened, the cliche example, but with Axie, like they had a lot of players. I don't necessarily think that game was super fun in the beginning. I'm not knocking them at all. They were legends and they'll go down as such and still building, and thank you for everything that they've done. I don't think that game was particularly fun, but they brought in a ton of people. So like
they started to play the earn trend. Really.
Yeah. They indexed super hard on the earn and way less on the play, right? But it wouldn't work. And so, but then obviously some people are going to index hard on the play and less on the earn. So it's probably going to be this sliding scale where people are going to have to figure it out. But then let's talk about like, what do you mean by earn? Do you mean like you go in and you're able to play for 100 hours and you're able to acquire the sword of 1,000 swords, and then somebody else wants to come in and they want to buy that from you because they have money, but they don't have time to put in 100 hours to get the sword. So they just buy it from, okay, well, you just earned, or are we talking about like you put it an hour, you get out 5, units of currency, and then this comes, more of your regular thing. And they're just essentially like engagement farming you. Well, how does that game make money? Like maybe they're sharing a percentage of ad revenue. Okay, well, that might be sustainable. Maybe there's like wagering within there. We've seen that model too. I think it's all going to kind of depend on like how the actual game structures it and what they actually mean by earn. I also think that there's going to be a huge shift in how we think about like governance tokens within games, because right now it's a little bit of a meme. It's like, oh, you get governance and you get to vote on, but it's, like who really has cared in the past 2 years about governance within games? Not a ton of people. But once a certain game or a platform or whatever hits a certain critical mass of people and transaction flow, and there are resources within that ecosystem, and governance is having major decisions about where that flow of resources goes, then a lot of people are going to really care about governance. Like, for example, what happens when there becomes a game which becomes like, thinking about from the esports perspective, right? There's this issue where you have the publisher owns the game, and so they will make decisions that aren't always in the best benefit. It's not always the most conducive to growing the esports side of the game. Like if we think of Nintendo with Super Smash Brothers, they could have sent that esports, that part of that game, like the esports part of that game, could have been a worldwide phenomenon and has been, but despite Nintendo's actions, not because of it, right? So if you think of something like that where the publisher is kind of like hurting the ability for the esports to grow, what happens if in Web3 we have a game that gets really big and gets a critical mass of players, and then you have a whole esports league coming? Well, maybe esports teams are trying their best to earn as many governance tokens as possible so they can take control, so they can then, have esports go of that particular game to go off and become its own phenomena, right? Games are different from like IRL sports where nobody owns the game of soccer, right? Everybody can play soccer, but like a video game was created by people and they control that. Like they own that code and they have licenses and IP and blah, 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 right? So like governance will become much more important later on down the road as we achieve scale. And then that governance has value. And so if you're playing and earning a share of governance tokens of a game, well, that can become pretty valuable later down the road. I just don't think we really know. And I think it's for the smart people like you guys here on the stream to figure that out and really wow us with your creativity.
I think
it's complicated.
No
There's
pressure.
a variety of issues with it.
Yeah.
I bet Rob wants to vote on whether or not you should use the term soccer, but that's another point.
Definitely.
That's what I wanted to say too.
I think
Go ahead, Rob.
what we've seen so far is we've seen the early starts of Web3, and we've seen games that have come along where people have gone in, extracted all the liquidity, moved on to the next game. We've seen games that have come in, tried to be fair. People have come in. The cost of the assets have rose to a point that nobody else can then enter that game because it's too. So there's history that we've studied these games. There's lots of short-term games, and that is not that doesn't last in the long term. You know, we now have this new generation of games that we're building on Unreal Engine 5. You know, we build all our own assets. None of the assets are off the marketplace. We are putting a huge investment to make a game that's sustainable for decades. We don't just want to be a pump and dump story. So we're putting lots of investment, not only in building the look and the feel of the game to make it fun, but also the in-game economy, so people can't come in and treat us as a pump and dump. So yes, you might not be able to come in within a weekend and extract millions and millions of value out of us, but you'll still be able to play our games and buy and sell our assets in 10, 20 years from now. And I think that's where the most successful games like Fortnite are. You know, they come in, they gain traction, but they're able to keep that momentum because they've got really great economics and they have studied of what games have gone on in the past and the mistakes that other projects have made.
Yeah, that's very good insight. That actually leads me to one of the questions that I was personally interested in, something that I've been debating myself a lot. Who will actually play these games? Who will actually be part of these ecosystems? I mean, as CEOs, everybody here is a CEO in their own right, and everybody here is invested in the whole Web3 industry. My question goes as follows. What I'm personally interested in is that I always thought that the blockchain gaming niche will create a whole new set of players, a group of people that you wouldn't normally categorize together. So that's my opinion, right? So do you have to be a gamer to be part of something like this? Or are we creating a whole new niche for a whole new group of people here, where there will be some old school gamers, some will be there for the earning elements, and some will be there solely because there's an engaging community like what NeoTokyo is doing. So I'm wondering to hear what your thoughts are on this. Do you share my opinion? Do you think it's something else entirely? Let's start with Ben, maybe. Ben, do you have any insights on this?
I think we're going to see something that's very interesting, and that's going to track similarly to what's gone on in not Web3, which is Web2. I think the statistic is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it's like 60% of the internet connected world plays games, right? You have like a certain number of billions of people that are not hooked up to the internet, which is still kind of crazy to me. And then, but of those people that are, I think it's something like 60% of people are gamers. And that number is increasing over time, increasing both in the total number and then that percentage of the people who are connected to games. So eventually, like, everybody's going to be interfacing with games in some way. That's going to also then eventually include people who are interfacing with digital worlds. So like right now, we are all engaging with each other via computer screens or laptops or, whatever other digital device we're using. Eventually, that's going to become more immersive, and that will be a part of a digital world. Like, I actually think the whole debate, back in 2021 of like, what is the metaverse really? It was a little bit silly to me because like, we're already there, guys. Like, we are literally talking to each other on computers
in this meeting. Yeah.
Yes, like we're in the virtual world. We are here. We have arrived. Like, we don't spend 8 hours a day without computers working. We spend them with computers working. Like, it's just going to become more immersive. And then we all have our we all have our trusty sidekicks here. The Robins to our Batman, which is our phones, for those listening to the audio version of this. And so that is only going to continue. Whether or not we're going to see new people come in that wouldn't have previously come in to this current iteration of what we currently perceive Web3 gaming to be, who knows? I have no idea. But will eventually virtual worlds and where all blockchain technology touches, will that eventually encompass almost everybody on the planet? Yeah, absolutely. I think I read a stat where like 52 million Americans own crypto. Who are the people that are going to be the gamers? Well, eventually it's going to be anybody that's connected to the internet that is interfacing with a virtual world, which is underpinned by blockchain. Who's that going to be in the short term? I'm not sure. It's probably going to be gamers who are a bit more adventurous. I've been a gamer since I was 6. I would imagine you guys have been gamers in one way, shape, or form. So it's probably going to be gamers with a bit more, adventurous spirit. And then it'll probably trickle out into their friends and their friends and their friends. And then, you'll see the other people will get brought in because of influencers or content creators or people that they admire. And it'll probably scale from there. Who knows? I think that's part of the fun, is preparing for any and all contingencies in that realm of what happens.
Yeah, actually, Sorry, Josh, take it away.
Oh, I think it's a great answer. And again, like your question, there's so many, much like previous questions in this chat, there's so much complexity to it, and it's almost impossible to, it's varying degrees of where the users come from in the future. But I will say from the Cornucopias perspective that we have community members that have come in that weren't necessarily gamers. I'm sure they've played games before, but that have gone out and bought a powerful GPU and graphics card to be able to play our game. That has definitely occurred. To the extent that that occurs in the future, no idea. To the extent that AI creates a scenario where everything, our entire world is so freaking, we just don't know how fast certain trends are going to take off. But I do completely agree. And I think you're right in your thesis that there will be a new kind of user created from this emerging trend, because people are coming in for multiple use cases of gaming and incentive, or gaming and rewards, so to speak. But yeah, it's so hard to say what's going to happen. And to one thing Ben said, he was talking about the number of people coming into crypto, or what. I think that number is greater than, or you made me think of a stat. The number of people coming into crypto is greater than the number of people that were, the pace is faster than the internet. The number of new users that were coming into the internet in the beginning of that trend, and it's faster. So obviously we have something incredibly powerful here, and gaming in combination with that point, the revenue from gaming exceeds the revenue from television, radio, music, film combined.
Yeah.
So those two powerful stats kind of say, they both argue in favor of your point that, yeah, without a doubt, we have this trend towards immersion, and we have this trend towards value. And combined with the internet, you have something incredibly powerful happening.
And I think if it was to use a metaphor, if you look at what we're building, we're not just building a game. Imagine a shopping mall, or a shopping centre, as we would say in the UK. People are coming in there. Some are coming in to hang out. Some are going into their favourite shops. Some of them are coming into work. Some of them are coming in for experiences. You've got movies. You've got theatres. We are creating this Web3 platform, and we're gamifying this. There will be people that are coming into our environment and actually setting up their own business. And then other people that are coming in to enjoy it. Not everybody will be coming in to earn some kind of a daily wage. Some will just be coming in to just to play and enjoy the experience. Some will get creative and create their own experiences with no expectations of earning anything. But if they do, I mean, wow, what such a powerful platform that is. And unlike traditional games where you go in and the publishers own everything, we are creating this platform where people can come in and actually create and take out of that environment whatever they can think of, and using the tools that we produce. It'll be amazing to watch it evolve. How our platform looks today is not going to be the same in the next 5 to 10 years, and a lot of that will be shaped by the community.
I want to throw something a little bit wild out there, right? So I think that it's pretty clear that there'll be new types of profiles, new type of, let's say, jobs, new types of like gamers coming into the industry, right? We're ever changing, right? It's just part of, I always say, it's the only rule of the universe is that everything must change, right? Now, something wild to think about is with the rise of AI, right? I think it was Josh that mentioned that there's this concept that has existed in sci-fi, right? And different stories presented in a different way. But one of the words used to describe it is a technarchy, right? Basically kind of like a society of, a hybrid society, we could say, of artificial intelligence and humans working together, right, as an integrated, holistic society, right? So I think that's something that's going to come probably to gaming before anything else, right? You'll start to build kind of like the equivalent of, what we call today gaming guilds, but a more sophisticated, let's say, version of that. AI and humans will meld together, right? Together against each other, with each other, and it'll serve kind of like as a template. It's something that it's a little bit harder to roll out in terms of the physical world, in the sense that we'll have AI managing systems in government or AI managing systems in things like healthcare or our energy grid. We know it's going to happen, right? Just it's just so efficient. But we'll need examples and templates about how to go about that. And I think that gaming will actually give us like a base platform or a sandbox to experiment on this thing. And that's something that's really exciting. That's something that's really wild. On our side in Dega, we expect to be rolling out at least a small sandbox to play with this, either by the end of January or the beginning of February, right? I'll make sure everybody here gets VIP access, of course. But essentially, we want to see how that looks. Just let it loose. Just let the AI loose with the humans, and let's see what kind of phenomena begins to arise from that.
Okay, I think about this all the time, and I'm so excited that we get to talk about this. Okay, here's how I think at some like base case levels, we're going to see AI impact gaming. One, all NPCs in games should be controlled and powered by AI. That's a given. You give yourself the ability to have infinite game loops because you can never truly beat it because it learns from every time it fights you, or it learns from every time you have a shopkeeper interaction or whatever.
We're working on that, by the way. AI powered NPC NFTs.
I
Way
love
too
that.
many acronyms together. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Going to be the name of the video.
I love it. I love it. So that's going to be awesome. Also, there is going to be, I think there should be, I don't know if it exists yet or if who's working on this, but if there's nobody working on this, or if you're excited about this, please go build this because we need this. But the ability for all of the different NFTs that exist on all the different chains and all the different formats to be made omnipresent or interoperable, whatever you want to call it, through AI. So like here's the idea. Like if you have, for example, my NeoTokyo citizen, this guy right here, laser eyes on the prize, right? I would love to be able to play him in every single game that exists. I want him to be my character, right? I want to have a special ability that's called laser beam, and I want to be able to laser beam my enemies. Okay. I also want to have this super special shotgun in this particular outfit, and etc. All those things. But he doesn't exist right now in all the different games. So I think the AI will be critical in basically like a piece of middleware that will translate the data of the NFT and then replicate that or insert that into the different game engines and the graphics engines of all the different games on all the different chains. That's probably very difficult for an individual or a team to be able to do hand by hand because there are new games popping up all the time, new networks, new platforms, new methods, new programming languages. But if there was kind of like this universal translator in a way to where it could take whatever this base source file is and like insert that into all the different things. Okay, that's going to be awesome. Also, there absolutely is going to be, or there absolutely should be, the ability for the individual players to be able to contribute to the gaming experience and to the world that they're a part of, right? Like everybody's got things in their mind that their creativity vastly outperforms their technical ability to bring that into reality. Like you can dream up so many things, but you're limited by your chops to be able to bring that into reality. But AI should be able to fix that. If you can somehow, using AI, have your will be done into a game and create part of the world, a mountain with quests and bad guys that you could go explore and fight and quest, and then other people can come and like you can co-create with a game or with a world and the AI, and you can basically have the idea and let the AI execute on the, the button pressing and the clicking. All of these things are going to make it so much more fun. And I think it's going to be an absolute game changer. And I hope people are working on this or start working on this, because these things are going to be really fun when they happen.
Absolutely, especially for RPG games, AI NPCs will be great. There has been this mod in Skyrim. I guess you're all familiar with Skyrim, the huge RPG game from Bethesda, one of my favorite games of all time. And someone created a mod that created an AI follower that you can talk to. And they talk all in like this Skyrim theme. Like, what dungeon are we going to go to next? You talk to them, you have a regular conversation, and it's like the text generated from ChatGPT. It doesn't need to be more complicated than that. And it's still almost like a real person. It is absolutely amazing. That is definitely something I would personally love to see in games.
Well, you're talking about one of the key use cases for an LLM, like a large language model in AI. So you can now take an LLM, modify and train it according to your own data sets, and then empower an NPC with that data for the players to be able to go in and talk to and say, hey, tell me where to go in Cornucopias. Tell me what to do. You know, like there could be so much. It could be just a friend that's trained based upon different psychological models, like, you know, the Myers-Briggs model of who combines best with what kind of personality, and your NPC could literally be trained based upon what psychological values this NPC needs to have for you to get along with it well, which is getting into something that's questionable in my opinion and incredibly complex, but like what you can do with an LLM is quite powerful to create entertaining and fun situations for gamers and variety as well. But yeah, that's a big topic.
We were talking about like I don't know if this is a word, but the globality, you know, the fact that it's very global of what we're doing in crypto and all that stuff. Maybe that's a new word. We should have that word. That should exist. Yeah. But like, okay, imagine we're interacting with people in, you know, all 7 continents, and, you know, let's imagine that the 7th continent is relevant in this conversation for a second. The Penguins want to play, but like we all need to be able to communicate with each other in real time. But a lot of us speak different languages, and not everybody wants to learn one, you know, central language. Well, there should absolutely be some sort of AI tech where it is like, you know, as I'm speaking, it translates into the person's preferred language of choice, so that there's this for real time communication, verbally speaking, so that people can communicate. I mean, that'd probably do a lot for humanity, just kind of taking a step back for a second of like, we can actually communicate in our native tongue and not be misunderstood, and, you know, have a very clear channel of communication. Like, you know, that could do a lot for the world, but that's just another example of like something that's critical for the rise of gaming, because we have so many different people who play so many different games in so many places of the planet, and not everybody's going to learn the same language. But if we're all going to end up being in this same digital mixing pot, we're going to have to get along somehow, or else it'll be kind of weird, you know?
True.
Absolutely. Well, gents, it's been an hour. I wish we had more time to talk about more topics. I hope people watching this find this as interesting as I have found it while recording this. But thank you, everybody, for joining us today. There's links to everyone's personal Twitter profiles, as well as the projects they represent, for anybody interested to learn more about Dega, Cornucopia, NeoTokyo, or whatever Ben wants me to put in other than NeoTokyo. Gents, once again, it's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Wait, I got one thing. One thing.
Absolutely.
Okay. So for everybody that's watching and listening, I just want you guys to, for a second, give huge props to Carlos and Josh and Rob here, because these guys are waking up every day and they're fighting a difficult fight of being entrepreneurs and building something in the space here. It is so unbelievably difficult to create something out of nothing, to create a business, especially in the Wild West of crypto. These guys are doing the hard work that we should all be very grateful for. They are ushering in the digital age, and they, one, deserve a follow and a like on all the different platforms, but more so, they deserve your respect, because they're out here and they're in the trenches every day, and most people don't do that. And we wouldn't have crypto if it wasn't for people like them. So show them some love, because they deserve it.
Thanks, man. You, Ben. Well, you guys too, though, right? You're building community and creating content and informing. So all of this is important. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, my side is
beautifully said.
Yeah, my side, it's just been a true pleasure to be here with the people, let's say, at the frontier of the next age of gaming. We discussed blockchain, we discussed AI. Hey, we don't even know what's going to be coming out in the next 5 years, right? There might be even new trends and new wild technologies out there. So, as Ben says, it truly is a challenge to keep up with everything, but it's also very, very fun, right? So on our side, looking forward to building. Anybody that wants to be part of this vision towards the next age of gaming, do hit us up in Dega. We're more than happy to work with you. Coming up in the next year, we have a lot of surprises and new adventures for everybody in the gaming world.
Excited about all of that. Excited about all of that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, very beautifully said. I wish I have said what Ben has said. I feel insensitive now.
Maybe you were about to. Who knows? But either way,
yeah. Well,
there's a lot of good work being done here amongst every individual in this meeting. So props to all of you guys. Building in the Bear.
Yeah, building in the Bear was one of the things I wanted to touch upon, but Yeah, I wanted this to last an hour. Unfortunately, we didn't have time for that one. But yeah, maybe we do it another time and start with that question.
Sure thing. Happy to
guys.
jump back anytime.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks for having us on, man. Really appreciate it. And it was a fun conversation.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining once again. I appreciate it a lot.
Take care, everybody. Have a great
right.
weekend.
Have a good day,
Enjoy your
everybody.
Saturday.